Morning everyone, just a quick check-in. It's been ages since I did a video. I'm going to be more consistent in 26, and I might even make this channel a little bit broader and talk about other things to do with cars and auto stuff as well. So I'll have a think about that, and if you've got any suggestions, please let me know. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe, and please like this video if you like it. And if you don't like it, please try and like it anyway. It does help. So anyway, I just wanted to have a quick check-in because I wanted to review one particular driver from 2025 that I think is the one to watch in 2026. It's not the most controversial thing in the world, but I think sometimes these people need to get their name known a bit more, and so I'm going to do that, even if you know this man inside out. So in F1, there's a gentleman by the name of Isack Hadjar, who I'm sure many of you are aware of by now because he's got the second seat in F1 for 2026. And I'm not going to go over his past, but his past is quite interesting. He came flying through F2 as a very aggressive driver, got picked up by the Racing Bulls, which is the sister team of Red Bull, in 2025, and eventually got his opportunity for 26 at the end of the season, primarily based on the fact that Red Bull really for the last number of years has struggled to find anybody that can fill that second seat. And what I think is interesting about 2026, and Isack Hadjar in particular, is the fact that he is an aggressive driver, and I think he's not there just to be a second driver either. Now, I think there's a whole different video to talk about whether Max Verstappen will leave Red Bull. I think it's been covered to death, so I don't know where I'm going to bother doing it, to be honest. But it's true to say that Hadjar, in my opinion at least, is a different level to the previous second drivers that Red Bull have had in previous years, and I do think he's got a really good chance actually of going a step further. So there's a bit in this, because if you think about it, let's say Verstappen does leave in 27 season. What do? Do they go, well, Hadjar's a good second driver, but we really need that big name, that Lando Norris or Piastri or Charles Leclerc or somebody of that ilk that just needs that is clearly got the skills to drive an F1 car, but hasn't had the team around them to do it. Now, the other thing is, I think that Red Bull are the dark horses for 26. I'm just going to go out on a whim and say that. I think, considering the recent news as well, that seems to be that both Red Bull and Mercedes are somehow managing to circumnavigate the rules a little bit for 26. Now, whether they'll get away with it, whether that will be clamped down on before the start of the season, I think is still to be assessed. But whether they do or they don't, I don't think Red Bull are complete novices. Yes, they've got a new engine manufacturer. Yes, they are building basically a car from the ground up like everybody else is. But they've got a lot of experience and knowledge. I think they've cleared the decks a little bit with the management team. So I think it's quite exciting what happens with them next season. And I think Hadjar is a part of that excitement. Now, let's say that Verstappen goes in 27. And let's say that it's difficult to bring in that Leclerc or Piastri. I think they're the two probably I would think of. I don't see Norris going anywhere, nor do I particularly care, if I'm completely honest. But I think that if they don't get one of those two, I think Hadjar is a shoo-in for the first driver slot, dependent on what he does in 26, and I'll come on to that. And the other question is, maybe he'll create that problem for them, because if he does well next season, which I anticipate he will, why would they want to go out and spend a fortune on a Leclerc who's been around for quite a long time now, Piastri, who is no rookie certainly, but I'm not sure I'd argue Piastri is going to be miles better than Hadjar by the end of next season. So where does that leave us? Well, it doesn't leave us anywhere, but it leaves Red Bull with a conundrum, and a nice one to have. Hadjar's aggressive, right? So next season, it will all be about, in my opinion, Hadjar, being consistent, getting through Q3, not just Q1 and Q2, but Q3, getting really up near the top of the table, getting close to Verstappen. And most of all, he's going to be compared to Verstappen. He's going to have the same car, right? Let's not argue the toss about whether he's got a different car or not. He hasn't. He's going to have the same car as Verstappen, maybe a different setup, but the same car. He's clearly got the raw aggression. He's clearly got the experience of one full season under his belt in F1 plus the F2 before. He's more than ready to take on the challenge. He's not Jack Doohan. He's a different level to one of those novices that came through, the rookies that came through this season. And I'd argue actually he's potentially as good as Antonelli, if not better. And there's a lot of noise made about Antonelli, which is why I'm saying I know that like everyone knows who Hadjar is, who knows F1. Some of you probably don't know so much about him because you sort of watch F1 casually. I'm saying that Hadjar potentially has the ability to be as good as, can I say it? Well, I don't know if he can be as good as Verstappen because that's really pushing the boat. But, a Vettel or, potentially a Verstappen eventually. I think he's that good. And so if he is that good, why would they want to leave him as a second driver and say, you just bide your time? I don't think he'll want to bide his time. Have you heard the radio this season? Have you heard some of the stuff he's been saying on the radio? This guy is in it to win. He wants to win. He's aggressive. I think he's probably got more confidence now. I mean, can you imagine what his confidence was like after Australia where he went crashing out on the formation lap? That's all been the past. Next season, we're not going to see a similar start to the season from him. I think we're going to see a very, very much more confident start. And if he can get used to that car quickly, which everyone knows is a bit of a challenge in the previous car version, but we're now into a new car version. Why wouldn't he be able to, get within a couple of tenths of Verstappen on most weekends? Why not? So if he can, and he can prove it, there's a couple of things. One, can he prove he's a team player? I hope so. If he can, that will mean him not only, sometimes moving aside to let Verstappen through, because Verstappen's definitely number one, but also holding off people behind him, putting pressure on those people slightly in front of him that are behind Verstappen. If, logic follows, in my logic at least, that he's actually Verstappen somewhere near the front of the grid, which I think he will be, then, he might come out at the end of next season, not as a champion. I think that's highly unlikely. But he might well come out at the end of the season close to Verstappen and proving that whether Verstappen's there or not, he's there to be a significant part of the team, which, if you go back to Ricciardo, Tsunoda, Lawson, let's not talk about Lawson in Red Bull, and obviously Sergio Perez in more recent times, you could definitely argue the case that he's got an opportunity to do something different and better, and I think he will. So I think, I'm not going to ramble on for too much longer about Hadjar today, but I think he's the one to watch. I think pre-season testing will be fascinating to see where he is in relation to Verstappen, despite all the the different parameters that are in play in the pre-season testing. But I think if that car is half decent and can be improved, I think if Hadjar can get used to it quickly, which will be the $64,000 question for me, but let's say he does, I see no reason to believe why he won't be both a significant player in 26 and potentially the number one driver in 27. And, let's be honest, Red Bull are very bold in making moves. They don't hang around. They're willing to back people when they deserve to be backed. With the exception of Perez, we got the new contract, which was just weird. But there's a whole Horner question there as well, which is now in the past. I think we could see potential dominance or certainly competitiveness from Red Bull for the next 3 or 4 years, with Hadjar playing a really significant part in that, and I am all here for it. I think it'd be really exciting if he does, because actually, if you look back to this season, if you look back to where Verstappen's had to really manage the team on his own as a driver. And actually, if you look at the fact that even the race in Spielberg that I went to this season, in Austria, where Antonelli took out Verstappen on the first corner right in front of me. I might try and dig out the video of that because I took my own video of it. I don't foresee that Red Bull are going to have the same problem next season. I think they've got a solid driver in Hadjar, and I think that actually what they'll see is a much more competitive team across the board. So I'm interested to get your thoughts and comments. I will definitely be doing more videos. I'm sorry that I haven't done any for ages, and as I say, I might broaden these videos out to be a bit wider than just F1, particularly over the next couple of months, as it's a bit quiet as well. So if there's anything particularly like a video on or a bit of sort of discussion about or review of them, then please let me know. But anyway, so I will wish you all a happy New Year for those that celebrate December 31st being New Year's Eve. And I don't know about you, but I am super excited to wait for the start of the next season. I'm in hibernation now for the next few weeks until things start to warm up again. But for me, I'll be definitely watching Antonelli. I think Antonelli's going to be super exciting. I'll probably do a video on him at some point in the near future as well. But I think what we're going to see is an exciting lineup from Red Bull next season, both in terms of car, the drivers, I think the two drivers are going to be absolutely brilliant next season, and hopefully we'll see a really competitive 2026, because frankly I'm still at a bit of a loss as to how Lando Norris won the title in 2025. I know that's controversial, but I'm saying it. So I will see you in the next one, and again, please just make sure you've liked and subscribed, and I will see you soon. All the best. Cheers. Bye.